I'm John.
And I'm Random, and this is Inside Cannabis, where we take a look back at the week's top cannabis news stories that you need to know about.
The Hill is reporting that Seattle officials have filed a motion to vacate marijuana convictions. A week after 420, Seattle officials said that they have filed a motion to vacate all convictions and drop all charges for marijuana possession for anyone arrested in the city prior to legalization. A press release from the city stated that the proposed move would affect 542 people who have convictions on their records.
Dude, finally, about time. We were just talking about this. Obviously, Seattle, thanks for watching our show. And I'm so glad that they're doing it. And I have read that Washington at large is also doing it.
That is great news, yes.
Man. Dude, 542 families are going to be affected by this. That is literally, and I'm not saying all of them were, but 542 potential fathers coming out and being there for their kids. So this is a huge step in the right direction, and it's definitely an acknowledgement that prohibition was a bad idea. And they're literally saying, hey, this was so bad, we need to go back. And I look at this very much as that people have been in jail since 2012, and it's now 2018. And so someone was sitting there for 6 years under legalized cannabis laws in Washington, even outside of the fact that we've had medical the whole time. So I'm just so glad that states, I think if we look back, we have Washington, D.C., maybe even Alaska as well, like really saying, hey, Vegas, really like pushing back on, hey, if you were convicted before, that was wrong, and let's get you back out. And the fact that it's being expunged so that it's easier for them to get a job, I think is phenomenal.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're looking at people coming out, contributing to society. We're talking about we're not going to have to pay for them to be incarcerated anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really beneficial move, and it's making things right, which I think is really the takeaway from this.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. In other news, YouTube is shutting down WeedTubers and other cannabis-related channels. High Time reports that YouTube, so far, has no comment relating the recent purge of cannabis-related channels. Custom Grow 420, Load Up Entertainment, and Urban Remo are among those deleted, with subscribers ranging up to over 1 million subscribers. Some theories have stated that YouTube is deleting channels in response to ads being run on objectionable content, including videos depicting violence, promoting hate speech, and some having disturbing scenes involving underage children.
Well, this is hitting pretty close to home, I must say.
Guys, follow us on all of our other channels in case this one gets taken down.
Yeah, can't be too safe. So, I really feel like this is a clear case of discrimination because, as you can see, all these channels have been taken down, but they're picking and choosing on which ones they're going to keep up and which ones they're going to take down.
Absolutely. I mean, most people that watch YouTube, they've heard of like Phil DeFranco. He points this out on him about YouTube, where it's like, hey, he reports news on one thing, he gets demonetized. NBC reports the exact same, shows the exact same clip, not getting demonetized. This is a major issue from a monetization standpoint, but now with them going the next step further and straight up deleting full channels, literally deleting your archive of content that you may not have a backup on, is atrocious and the worst thing to do to the YouTube community. My thing is, and John, I don't know if you can do it, if you can play devil's advocate on this one, I'll listen, but the big thing that I want to say is, when are they going to then say, okay, everybody, Snoop Dogg should be deleted?
Exactly.
Guess what? Martha Stewart now needs to be deleted. Her channel needs to be deleted. Wait a sec. CNN shows smoking weed on TV. They need to delete their YouTube account. This needs to stop being a ridiculous, we're just going to delete some and not delete others. And then they literally seem to delete the ones that they don't think have an attorney. Like, that's the weirdest thing. They literally, it seems that something goes on there because they try and play nice and say, hey, please give me back the channel. But guys, I really, really hope, big shout out to the channels that I mentioned. Guys, we hope you get your channels back. We're there with you in spirit. Trust us, we've been deleted so many times from Facebook and Instagram, it's not even funny. So we know, we've been there. Don't quit, keep creating content. John?
Absolutely. Yep, I agree. We signed all the same terms of service, so I think it's either you delete them all or you let us post our stuff. We're not doing anything wrong. We're in a legal state, so I mean, let the people have their channels.
Yeah. The thing is, no one's forced to watch this.
Yeah.
Like, if someone wants to watch it, they can watch it. If they don't like it, they can literally click on the next video. And so it makes no sense to me why YouTube is now deciding to be the censor for the internet. It makes absolutely no sense. What they should do is, if advertisers are so pissed of what their ads are running on. The thing that like you should sit there and think about is, okay, do you not want the person's money who's watching whatever that content is? Okay, if you don't, that's totally fine. Then YouTube, why don't you fix your back end on how you run ads and not punish all of us for your lazy engineering? So,
exactly.
Anyways.
I agree. Companies in states that have legalized marijuana are changing their drug testing policies, and many are choosing to no longer test for marijuana. Failed drug tests have been rising over the last year. Employers are hoping that these changes will help increase the number of employable applicants.
Well, I have to say, we're kind of in a little bit of a different situation. We drug test here. You just have to have THC in your system to work here. We're looking for something when you apply here. So it's a weird one. I'm super glad that maybe that's going to now be a thing where they go, well, yeah, you're allowed to smoke. We've determined that that's okay, and you can come to work and not be high. So I completely agree that needed to be a thing. I guess I'm so removed from it, so removed. It's even hard for me to get my mind around oh wait, you guys drug test for that? I'm just gonna be honest.
Right.
So I don't know. What's your feeling, John?
Well, I think there's certain jobs that obviously I think should be drug tested. I think CDL drivers and stuff like that, school bus drivers, stuff like that. Of course, that's something to where if you're smoking pot, that's fine. But we want to know, and we want to make sure that that you're driving safely when you're have children at your hands. But I don't know. Maybe that's debatable.
So. I want to understand, so are you saying that, someone with a CDL, because we've heard that one all the time, I can't consume, I have a CDL, that kind of stuff, and they drug test. So are you saying that someone with a CDL should not be allowed to smoke weed ever? Because they don't, that's the thing to me is that the drug tests aren't accurate to when did you last consume.
You're absolutely right.
With booze, this is your blood alcohol.
Right,
and so that's the whole thing is
you're right. You prove a good point, and I do agree. I think it's more or less that we wouldn't want an alcoholic to drive, but where's our test for that? So maybe it is unfair that we're more concerned about whether or not you're smoking a little bit of weed rather than
the night before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rather than having a lifelong alcohol problem where we may not know if you're drinking on the job. So,
I completely agree with that. So once again, I'm saying I'm too removed to give any real significant opinion on this. One, I'm glad it's good news compared to the YouTube that we just talked about. So I always love when things are moving forward. I think the big thing that I would say is we're all waiting for it. Everyone's waiting for it. Where are the scientists on when there's going to be a drug test that says when you last consumed or have some bearing on
are you under the influence right now?
Right.
I think that's what I would be more interested in if it came down to CDL testing. Right now, are you stoned right now? Because anything else, it's not.
You go on vacation for a week, smoke. You're not going to work. Come back a week later, drive a truck, and then get a random drug test and you fail it because you were gone for a week?
Yeah.
That's where it's ridiculous.
Exactly. No, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
In other news, California State Senator Dianna Feinstein says she now supports federal legalization of marijuana after years of opposition. In 2015, Feinstein was the only Democrat in the Senate Appropriation Committee to vote against the use of funds for medical marijuana dispensaries. Feinstein says she has changed her view after learning how medical marijuana has helped children. Although her views have changed quite a bit, Feinstein has made a point to specifically state that her support is only for medical marijuana.
Well, I have a few opinions on this because
I'm shocked, John, that you have some opinions on this.
I am not the biggest Dianne Feinstein
Feinstein, however you want to say it, I support that. That's what I support. However you want to say her name, go for it. I think I said it 3 different ways.
Truly, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest. I feel like she's really too moderate for my taste. I feel like she changes her opinion based on when it's most popular. So,
I guess the question is, and I mean, this is not a political show. We report on a lot of politics because that's how cannabis is affected, but it's not a political show. My only thing is, and I've always had a tough time with this, isn't it the Senate's job to actually sway with however the country sways? So if voters at one point didn't want marijuana, right, and only 36% of the voters wanted marijuana to be legalized, well then technically it should be illegal. And then the voters changed to 51%.
You are right, except for she is extremely late to the party on this one. The
It took
opinion has
70%.
swayed,
Yeah, exactly. She just kept waiting and waiting.
Right,
She's like,
right.
no, we need a Senate majority of over 2/3, and then we need some weird thing to happen, and then, for her to change her opinion.
No, and I can understand, politicians being a little late. They always seem to be a little bit behind the times, but they eventually do sway when they're on the ball,
Well, that's the one thing. I mean, the other thing is like, let's be honest. I don't know how old she is, but I see her on TV. I'm like, most people her age in politics are normally conservative. And so I guess anytime, even though she's a Democrat and all that kind of stuff, but just she has a very conservative viewpoint of the world. To me, it seems she's a Democrat because she genuinely wants to help people, which is great. But the thing I'm going to say is like, I'm glad that we have another conservative. And the one thing is, and you guys heard my opinion of who just got paid off by joining the board. Whatever his name was.
Boehner.
Yeah, Boehner's getting paid off. She doesn't appear to get any benefit from this. She's not signing up with a cannabis company and getting paid. And I don't see that the lobby somehow gave her a bunch of money. And so I think she's just naturally changing her mind. And she's obviously very pro-medical. Any way that we can get more people on our side, I think is a good thing. I just sit there and say, the stuff was out there on how medical marijuana helped children 10 years ago. Don't act like you just, I just saw it on CNN.
Especially in California, which has been, medical's been legal for a long time.
1995.
Yeah.
Guess what? She was alive back then.
Yeah.
So,
well, and here might be an interesting reason why she might change. Well, she's got a very progressive challenger primarying her.
Yeah.
So this, and a lot of people have said this is, obviously she didn't come out and say this, but, now's the time when she's going to sway when her seat's at stake.
I got it.
So
Got it.
I'm not saying that's exactly it, but it is awfully coincidental.
Yeah, pretty coincidental.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Missouri senators voted to legalize medical marijuana on Tuesday this week. Lawmakers feel that community members have been pushing for changes and that legalization is inevitable. The bill's sponsor, Jim Neely, expressed concern and said that it is important that legislature sets the rules of the industry. He says, if we don't take action, voters of this state may very well take the decision out of the hands of politicians and in the hands of the voters.
Exactly where it should be. It should be in the hands of us.
Right.
Like, he's like, oh no, I'm going to lose my power. Okay, let's do it ourselves and make a bunch of bad rules. So I'm glad they're voting on it. I hope it passes. I'm pretty sure it's going to pass. So that's awesome. But dude, what a nonsensical statement that you guys need to control it and do it right. Number one, in every state that it has been legalized, it gets legalized and then it gets handed over to the Liquor Control Board or the Health Department and the Agricultural Department, where those people then put the rules together of how it's going to be. You guys don't ever lose it, and you guys don't need to do it. So I think that statement's completely bogus. But guys, I hope the vote goes good, and I hope it gets legalized.
Yeah, here's hoping for another state.
Another state, man. Dude, that would literally be, if it's not number 30, it may be the big 3-0. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and that's when we're talking like a real, like we're getting to that high tide mark where it's just gonna push it over and we're gonna win.
Dude,
we're gonna win.
Dude, I know it's Oklahoma. Well, who else did we just report on? It was Oklahoma, and somebody else. Dude, Oklahoma. As soon as Oklahoma falls, Texas is just going to be like a big domino. That's what we're waiting
Texas,
for.
That big old domino.
Texas always wants to be talked about. I think that they aren't legalizing it just because they get more press now. No one's going to talk about Texas after they finally legalize it. Then it's just be like, oh yeah, whatever.
Right.
So, well, guys, that's all the time we have for Inside Cannabis. I'm Random.
And I'm John, and we'll see you next Saturday where we take a look back at the latest cannabis news.